This is the reference photo of Romeo, a dachshund. That was the heart dog of my friend Jessica, who's unfortunately passed away. Romeo, not Jessica. And so this is going to be a watercolor painting. I did actually start this painting several years ago before I even had the idea to film, so we're starting a little bit ahead here. Jessica and I became Facebook friends through a mutual friend of ours because that mutual friend, Ariana, she kept sharing memes from one of us to the other, so we would comment back and forth on her posts. So we just became friends, and then recently I got to meet her in person. And we started chatting more often on Messenger over the past 6 months or so because we both ended up being in the hospital at the same time. And so we had really wonky schedules, and we would both be up at 3 in the morning. So I got to know her a lot better, just randomly 3 a.m. chats. And while we were in the hospital for not exactly the same thing, they were definitely similar ailments. But from what she's told me and from the videos that I've seen that she's sent me of Romeo, he was a very active little dog who loved going to the lake shore, and he would roll around in the sand until he was not a black and tan dog at all, but more or less sandy mud monster. His favorite foods were pizza and chicken, but he was known to eat a few pieces of lettuce here and there, so balance. And his favorite place to go was a park in Gaylord, Michigan, where they would go on the trails, and he had it memorized, and he would run off ahead of her and turn around and be like, "Okay, Mom, where are you? Let's keep going." And in the way of most of our dogs, he was very in tune to her feelings, and when she would have a panic attack, he would come and lay on her chest and give her kisses and try to make her feel better. So even though he wasn't trained as an emotional support animal or an alert dog for panic attacks or anything like that, the best part of dogs is how empathic they are, even if they have a little attitude sometimes. This reference photo that I'm working from was when he was a puppy still. Jessica actually named him Romeo after her grandfather, but he definitely lived up to the name because he really loved everybody that he met, but especially the ladies. Romeo crossed the Rainbow Bridge in April of 2020, just shy of his 15th birthday, which would have been Cinco de Mayo. The dachshund or dachshund or sausage dog or wiener dog, whatever you want to call them, is a breed of dog from Germany that was bred to hunt badgers and small animals. So that's why they have that long, narrow body to dig into the dirt and the soil, and that's probably why he really liked rolling around in the sand, because they are no stranger to dirt, and they will go into the burrow to hunt small mammals. The literal translation of dachshund is badger dog. Those floppy ears were bred into them so that it would keep soil and dirt from getting into their ear canal. And you can't see it in this picture, but they have a long curved tail that acts both as a flag to show you where the animal burrow is, and, well, in some cases, they might have to pull the animal out by its rear end, so the tail kind of acted like a handle as well. That long and low body that they have, that's great for digging into animal burrows, unfortunately does come with some problems because they are prone to back injuries as well. So the next videos that I'll be posting are going to be switching from watercolor painting to charcoal sketches. There's a few dogs I have on tap, a wild turkey, a raccoon, and I think I've got some mallard ducklings that I think would make a nice charcoal drawing as well. I said a few more dogs and a horse as well. So Let me know in the comments which one of those you'd like to see next. So when I haven't been painting Romeo here, lately I've been reading a book about crayfish, so don't be surprised if that becomes a topic for a future video too. Or if there's a particular nature topic you'd like to see me sketch, that one will probably be in color. And while I do enjoy watercolor painting and painting in general, the charcoal and colored pencil sketches that I'll be doing next are they're just easier. There's less cleanup involved. There's less stuff to get out. And they should be shorter videos too. I've been excited to start working with charcoal and colored pencil sketching again, but I had this project that I had already started an embarrassingly long time ago, and for once I decided that I should finish a project before I start 17 others. Because while I love dogs and I love Jessica, it's a little difficult to find enough to talk about to go with the paintings when I never actually met that particular dog and only met the person once in person. Ariana and I were talking just the other day, and somehow it came up in conversation that she had once had the best anesthesiologist, because instead of counting backwards from 100, he said, "Oh, I see a picture of your dog on your phone. Tell me about your dog." And that's a great way to go into any procedure, right? Talking about something that you love. And I think I've learned that I'm not going to ask or post with suggested photos for paintings or drawings anymore, because 90% of the ones that I get are people's dogs. Or other pets. I've gotten a couple of cats and a horse, but we just love them so much that the first thing that we think about when we think about artwork is our loved ones, our fluffy, furry ones, or scaly ones, whatever your pet may be. It's just that I already have so many dog photos on my phone from pet sitting and sending pet parents the pictures of the dogs while I was pet sitting, and just taking pictures of their goofy expressions. And a lot of them are the ones that it's like, wait, I sent you this picture and now you're sending it to me to make into artwork. But I do ask, because that way I have a home for the artwork after it's completed. I don't want to just sit on a portfolio of paintings and hoard them. I want them to go out into the world and hopefully make people smile. And nothing does that quite like a doggo or a kitty. So clearly the dogs and other pets, they have a home once the painting is done, or once the drawing is done. And so far, most of the other things that I've done have had homes. Not the class watercolors. So if there's anything that you saw there in the watercolor finished product video that you like and that you would want, just let me know in the comments, and we'll see if we can make that happen for you. And don't worry, Lori, I already have rose oaks set aside for you, which really is a good choice. I really like that painting, how it turned out. It just kind of reminds me of going from the light and airy bridge into the deep, dark woods, which is one of my favorite places to be. It almost has a fairy tale-esque element to it. So some of the tips and tricks that I've learned that you may have noticed in this video is I have this plastic tray underneath from the Dollar Tree. It's an art tray. But what you can't see is underneath the paper, I've also used a dish drying mat from the Dollar Tree to help absorb any of the extra water underneath. And you might notice in the corner there, I'm using and I did it for the acrylics as well, I'm using a fidget toy as the palette for the paints that I'm not using a whole bunch of. There are a few wells in the art tray here, but what I like about this tray in particular is that I can close it and protect the artwork. And that's why it managed to survive sitting on my desk for a couple of years in its non-finished state. But I did get the fidget toys to use as palettes because I saw that online somewhere on a Facebook reel or something, and I thought it was a good idea because you can just let the paints dry and then pop it, um, and then you get that satisfying bubble wrap feeling as well as an easy way to clean up, because I am all about cleaning up easily. For some of the larger areas in the background, I did use a fillable watercolor brush. These came on my radar. I realized they existed because they're actually used sometimes to feed neonate um, baby animals in wildlife rehabilitation. So there are some animals that just have a very small mouth, and so they'll put the formula inside the fillable paintbrush, and the animal can latch on to the bristles and get their milk in that way. I have to say, so far, the refillable or the fillable watercolor brushes, I'm not a huge fan. I don't know if there's just a learning curve, and maybe in the future I'll really think they're the bee's knees. And maybe it's just the brand that I bought, the cheapest one, but the bristles seem to absorb the pigment and stain. I have to say, I think that my favorite part of this painting is his little nose. I think that turned out pretty well, and his little paws too. Even though it took me a little while to realize that his little paws weren't in the frame of the video, so you kind of missed out on watching me paint most of those. Uh, I'm pretty low tech. I just have my phone up on a clear stand, kind of balanced. So maybe I'll invest in a document camera one of these days. But for now, we'll just see how long I keep doing this. They'll get better over time. Now I am taking some artistic license here with some of the details of the original reference photo, in that the original photo showed him with a completely appropriate actual cow bone as his little chew, and I don't want to deal with watercolor on an anatomical bone, and it's just not as aesthetically appealing. So I'm making this one more of like a little bone-shaped biscuit for him to have in front of him there. And instead of dealing with cheetah print blanket, since Jessica says that Romeo's favorite color was purple, then I'm just going to do the background in purple here. As always, thanks for watching and listening to me ramble, and I hope you enjoyed Romeo the Goodest Dog, because they're all goodest dogs. And then, through the magic of television, we've got the finished product. Ta-da!